Welcome back to another episode of Chef Knives to Go Quick Look Product Reviews. I'm Steve Gamache, and what we have today is the Kohetsu HAP40 Santoku 180mm knife. So this knife line has a core steel of what's known as HAP40 semi-stainless steel. We'll talk a little bit more about the steel, but they take it to a pretty high hardness. It's about 65 Rockwell. And the construction of this knife is a 3-layer sandwich with soft stainless steel cladding over the top of that semi-stainless, harder core steel. So we'll show you a little bit on a close-up. It's kind of hard to see, but there is a cladding line. You kind of see it there where the core steel kind of peeks through. So it's a 3-layer sandwich. The weight, these are thin blades. The weight is light. It's 117 grams or 4.1 ounces. And the edge length is right about 180 on the nose or 7.1 inches from tip to chin. And I like Santokus that are a little bit longer. You get a little more versatility out of a longer Santoku like a 180 versus, let's say, a 165 or 170. Sometimes it can add a little more versatility than you might think. So it's kind of cool to have a little extra length at your disposal. So this one's about 12.4 inches overall length. The spine thickness, these are pretty thin, so it's about 2.2 millimeters, and it pretty much just carries that all the way through until you get about the last, I don't know, inch or so of the curve of the spine, and then you get to a real thin tip. So they grind these nice and thin at the tip. Blade height is about 47.8, so just a little bit shy of 48 millimeters. And then the handles, nothing fancy, but it's just a good basic octagonal ambidextrous hoe wood with the buffalo horn ferrule for a nice touch. Pretty nice install on the handle itself. The circumference is just about right on the money for a standard style handle. It's about 3 inches or 76, 77 millimeters at the ferrule wood junction here. And then the handle's pretty light, so on this particular one, that actually still brings the balance point kind of close to a pinch grip. So very neutral balance point on a pinch grip, and very nimble feel. There's a light blade, like I said. Let's take a close-up look at it. HAP40 is one of these steels that's very popular now on the Chef Knives to Go product offerings, and for good reason. It holds an edge a very long time, and it does not need sharpening very often as long as you use it correctly and don't create any edge damage or dull it from improper use, so you get a long-lasting edge out of it. You kind of got a nice, consistent machine finish on it. They've polished and curved the spine a little bit, as well as the choil, the back of the blade, so it's pretty comfortable to go right out of the box. And these have a nice out-of-the-box edge. They tend to polish the right side of the blade, which is, as you hold the knife, that's the right side, that's the left side. So these will have a little bit more of a polished area on the right side of the blade that goes into the edge versus the right side, or excuse me, the left side, the back side of the blade. So that's done intentionally to thin the blade out a little bit and gain performance. And like I said, the edge of these is probably a good solid 6 or 7 out of 10. And HAP40 is not too awful bad to sharpen, so it sharpens up reasonably well. But as I said, it can hold an edge a very long time. So if that's a priority, this might be a nice steel for you. I would also mention that sometimes the cladding on these lines for these can be a little bit not full-blown, total, never get a stain on it, stainless. So if you get a little bit of staining or a little bit of patina on the cladding as well as the core steel, don't worry about it too much. It's just the way the cladding behaves on these. But there's your core steel showing through. And they are ground pretty thin. You can kind of tell from how that looks. So nice and thin. And they've got a good profile. This is a well-designed knife. As I said, they're thin, sharp, good performers, nice thin tips on them. They've designed this kind of a multi-purpose profile. Whoop, guess I'll help if I focus correctly. There we go. So you've got a bit of a flat spot at the back third of the blade. It flows in an actual kind of a nice stop at the heel. And then you've got a fair amount of belly towards the tip, so I can still rock it pretty high, and I can do some rock chopping. It's got enough kind of belly to do some push-pull cuts, so it's really a pretty versatile profile in my opinion. But again, you've even got a little bit of flat at the back for some chopping if you want to. So it's a well-done profile. You've got, I think you can kind of see that just from the look, but you've got some embossed kanji on there. And not much else to say. It's just a really nice knife. These are good performing knives. The steel takes a really nice sharp edge and will hold an incredibly long time. So that's a could be great in a pro kitchen or just a home environment. If you don't like to sharpen, you're going to send them out, have them sharpened by somebody that knows what they're doing on these types of knives. You can have a really long-lasting edge. So there you have the Kohetsu wa, or Japanese handled HAP40 Santoku 180mm knife.